the various institutes who are present here today, friends from industry, and we are particularly grateful to you for having spared your time, valuable time, to help us navigate this journey. And as the Additional Secretary Textile, Mr. Rohit Kansal, just sent me a note, please make sure you say, and that's the strength of working as a team. He's actually said, please make sure you say that this is not the end of the journey. The subgroups will continue to work together to implement what they have now projected. And thank you, Rohit, for bringing that to my attention. So that's exactly what we want you to learn. We've actually scripted all this before. This is the best example of cooperation, yet competition. I'm glad, Bhatia Sahab, you've not jumped into the field. Commerce अपने आप को दूर ही रखता है. But truly, I can't tell you how immensely pleased I am to see the wonderful work that all of you have done. You all deserve a round of applause for yourselves. When we started out on this process, project, or journey, honestly, I was not very sure what the outcomes would be like. There was a lot of skepticism even amongst our team, if I recall correctly. It's a journey which is not very long. We're just looking at the number of meetings and engagements we've had. It's been a journey of only about 7 months, from 29th October last year when we met at Hyderabad at the FDDI complex where Nirmala ji and I were both there, until today. Of course, while the subgroups have had very frequent interactions, I was pleased to see that. I'm a little sad that we are meeting today after probably December 20th, which is almost 5.5 months. So I do hope all those who are organizing and coordinating this will not allow such a big gap between our engagements. Though I'm happy you've been meeting in between, but after the 14th or 24th of February, there's been a hiatus in the progress. So if you were ready by that time, we should have really had this engagement much earlier. So I do hope next time around we don't have such a long gap when you all engage with each other, irrespective of whether I'm in Delhi available or no. Next time it could even be now moved out of Delhi to different areas. Ideally, if we could meet at different campuses, so there'll be more people getting to know each other, getting to know faculties in different fields, getting to see facilities available, so maybe new ideas will germinate on what more we can collaborate on. But truly, this Convergence initiative will strengthen not only our own initiatives, but also the industry-academia partnership, will strengthen the government's own ability to support you, and I wish to reiterate that you're all autonomous bodies. We would like to remain as peripherally out of your hair as much as we can. Your success story will be determined by minimalistic government interference. And that's, I think, you raised the point of funding. Yeah, that's a little bit of an oblique way of saying that self-sufficiency is the best model to success. As long as you remain tied into government support, you can take government support like NID will be receiving a large piece of land, and I hope you are able to extract a large piece. I've done my job. Now the baby is yours. From HMT, which is almost walking distance from their campus, I had of course tried to get them the neighboring campus, but chalo jo bhi ho gaya, 100 kadam dur hoga, but they'll get a good campus, and that came out of a sudden unannounced visit to NID in Bengaluru, and I think I'm going to do a lot more of that. just a word of caution. So at least you can make sure that even the board outside your campus reflects your current status or your name, which was not the case at NID Bangalore, unfortunately. नहीं, now it has changed. मेरे visit के बाद change का तो मतलब नहीं है ना. Websites. I hope all of you are conscious that websites have to be contemporary, absolutely up to date, reflecting a current position, and need not have any minister's name on it. You are not government bodies, you are independent bodies. In the Modi government, those days are gone that you are looking at having a textile minister giving a message on the opening page of NIFT website. All of that is not required. If you find something inspirational said by the Honorable Prime Minister or the President of India which you want to articulate, that will be very nice. But they are institutions. The idea what I am trying to tell you is that we really need to, all of us, now remain abreast with the times that we live and work in. For example, again, since that's the last campus I visited, please pardon me, Naharji, and it's only as an example. Nobody needs to feel very great about it. Unfortunately for them, I reached there. कहीं आपके आ जाऊं तो आपको और ज़्यादा तकलीफ होगी. तो इसलिए a pre-warning. Look at your facilities. Look at your equipment, what you are using. Look at what you are offering to your students. First thing you do when you get back tomorrow or Monday is look at your toilets. That's the least, the very, very least that we can give to ourselves, because I'm sure we also use the toilet. And it's very unfortunate that over a period of time, for many years, we see things, but we don't do anything about it. हम बहुत आदत के मजबूर हो गए हैं कि तो ऐसे ही चलता है. I want you to get that out of your mind. That's the purpose of this engagement. I read in one of the presentations, I've tried to go through the 5 presentations, and truly some outstanding ideas have come out in these presentations. And I don't think I can find anything which I disagree with. You can almost take this entire 5 presentations as a proof. And I'd urge the ministries concerned that by Tuesday, you go through the ideas, unless it's really game-changing, that you cannot accept it. Game-changing you can accept. I like game-changing ideas, but it's threatening, let's say, threatening to some activity. I would urge that we go along with what in their considered opinion, found good for all of them, collectively. कुछ नहीं एग्री कर रहे तो एक बार मुझे भी बता देना क्यों नहीं एग्री कर रहे, ठीक है ना? But I would like that we now look at implementation phase. Ideas will keep coming, we'll keep adding to ideas. But now if we keep discussing ideas, then we'll have to go into calendar 24. So I would urge that starting 1st of June, and it's a good month, very good month. I'm born in June. Well, I could almost hear snickers. So may not be all that great a month actually. But let's start today. It's the 1st of June, so no better day than a beginning of a month. And let's set time frames and responsibilities. No activity will ever succeed unless there's a person principally responsible, possibly a group, and we can use these core groups that we have created and have one of them take leadership. It could be by circulation or by rotation. And timelines be allocated to each activity. So obviously this year we cannot get into the entrance exam, but certainly we can pitch for it next year. But if you want to do it, you'll have to start now. Can't happen overnight. I'd also suggested, I don't see that, maybe you decided against it, which is fine. You don't have to agree with everything I say. But from my experience of foreign universities of prestige, Ivy League colleges, they usually have 2 or 3 stages of admission. They take a certain set of people in the first phase, and in the second phase then they admit a second set of people. Idea being that they would like to not miss out anybody who maybe in the first lot did get, let's say, the higher rank, did not join you, tried to get admission in a good second rank institute, didn't get it, and now wants to come back, or the reverse, I've said it the reverse way. Somebody who was down could not get it in your place in the first instance, but now in the second round possibly gets up and gets a chance to come to your institute. But whatever it is, the reasons you may be knowing better, you guys do admissions, I don't. But I believe that there's some merits. If it is not, then you can drop the idea, but look at a 2-stage. And from what I remember of NIFT, the whole admission process was 4 or 6 months long. No admission process should be that long. We need to do it faster. Some places you can even use artificial intelligence. Possibly we could use some kind of that first phase exam, which should be similar to a GMAT or a SAT or a whatever, so that's what you propose, great. So that we get a marking which doesn't preclude you from applying, but helps the admission process in sifting those who may be better than the rest. I don't know if you have also proposed essays. I personally believe liberal education, and to some extent that's what you're doing, skill and vocation-based education, also can have an element of essays, but I don't know whether that could lead to, at least in the Indian context, allegations of favoritism. So please give it your considered thought. Maybe that could be used after the first set of students are selected. We could go and get into more understanding the personality of or the abilities of students through more modern techniques. Yeah. Okay. By the way, the strength, that's good. By the way, the strength of our institutes is, and I hope you will all bear me out, that not once would my office ever have approached any of you for admission for anybody. Is there anybody over here who's got any, अगर ऐसा है तो मुझे अपने system को भी ठीक करना पड़ेगा. I get a lot of requests, by the way, from high quarters, colleagues across the country. But I have a standard reply that these are all professional institutions. Admissions are given on merit, transfers are through a policy, and we cannot do anything to change that. I hope you are all maintaining that high integrity, because I remember once or twice, not in your institutes, once or twice in some other situations, when I kept a hands-off approach totally that, we don't interfere, it's all merit-based, sometimes transfers and all in government. तो मेरे ऑफिस से पत्र जाता है कि हमारा तो एकदम hands-off है, कोई इंटरफेरेंस नहीं है, मेरिट और प्रोसेस ड्रिवन है, और उसके बाद पता नहीं क्या करता है बंदा, पर वो काम करके मेरे पास आके बताता है आपने तो किया नहीं, मैंने करवा लिया. उतनी हमारी इंसल्ट मत कर देना. वो सैंक्टिटी और क्रेडिबिलिटी जो आपने कमाई है, ये आपकी सबसे बड़ी पूंजी है. डोंट एवर लूज योर बिगेस्ट एसेट, योर वेल्थ, which you have earned over so many years. And God forbid if somebody else is putting pressure on you, please feel free to let my office know or let the secretary or additional secretary know. And we should take serious note of it. If it's somebody you cannot counsel, please let me know, I will counsel. But we would like to have this high level of integrity in our institutions. Friends, fashion trends, product design, packaging, high quality of goods and services, high level of exports or international trade, internationalizing our Indian economy, are going to determine India's success story in the future. I mean, you've just seen the GDP number, 7.2%, well beyond anybody's imagination. the kind of recognition that Prime Minister Modi's leadership is getting across the world makes every Indian proud. The Indian passport today has a new value, an added value, a very high value. Our management skills, the pool of talent, the manpower that we have generated over, skills that we have generated over the years, the STEM graduates coming out in big numbers, your students are making India proud. The new national education policy talks about changing people's mindset. Also that means changing the curriculum, making it more contemporary, inclusive, modern. We are moving from teaching the child what to think to helping him understand how to think. And if we can achieve that, the sky is the limit to the abilities of Indian boys and girls. And I think the student intake that we have certainly needs to be relooked at. I've said it before. I could not, or maybe I missed it, could not see any great plans on that as yet. But I'm convinced that COVID taught us so many new lessons, particularly about hybrid working. Now with Airbnbs and whatever, these OYO rooms and all these rental properties also are now available at very low yields, 1 or 2% of the capital value of flats. Dormitories are now available. You have YMCAs and whatever, YWCAs. A lot of options are available. Instead of focusing your money and your energies only on hostel, or cribbing about lack of hostel, therefore not enough more students you can take, please think out of the box. So we have a large pool of talent out there. Large number of students who are looking for a better education in fields where there is demand. And looking at the huge demand for designers, fashion technologists, I think there's a lot of potential for us to grow. But we also, as I had said in an earlier occasion, not in this group, but I think at NIFT possibly, in Mumbai, we need to develop the child as a part of curriculum in skills like finance, so that possibly they start understanding their own value, entrepreneurship, so that they can possibly become startups, or they get a business sense as they come out of college. Possibly we could help them, groom them in terms of personality, in terms of ability to face challenges that will come in their life. Even interviews, many reputed, I remember my son's school, before the admissions to universities, actually ran training programs on how they will write their applications, how they will present themselves on the interview. They guided them also in which colleges to apply, based on the aptitude, the academics, their overall personality. I made a mistake, I mean, not a mistake, but the typical in our times, and I see a lot of people who would be my age over here. 10th standard and you get a certain set of marks. Because of the marks, even though I always wanted to be in the field of finance, you go into science, commerce में जाना उस ज़माने में थोड़ा हीन भावना होती थी. You get into science where you don't want to go in, you are scared to go to the bio lab, even to cut a cockroach. I've never done that in my life. I used to get all my friends to do it. And then midway in 11th, finally good sense dawning on the ecosystem, which means family and all of that. Then better we allow him to pursue what he wants to do. तो मेरा वो माधवन वाला हाल नहीं हुआ 3 idiots की, मैं बच गया पहले. And 12th I moved to commerce. It was terribly difficult to get admission. Nobody wanted. They were saying 11th repeat karo. That's what the national education policy is trying to change. Can we pick up a few cues from that? Can we have credit systems in our institutes? Maybe somebody who's joined NIFT, now let's make sure it doesn't become a backdoor entry from one to the other. कि पहले इसमें घुस जाओ और फिर NID में घुस जाएंगे. वो संभालते रहे. Maybe the credits would be different from different institutes. You have to be practical and find solutions. Or within the institute at least have more flexibility for children to move based on their passion or what they are most suitable for, where teachers can also guide them. Can we look at dual degrees amongst ourselves or with others? Can we look at an IIFT doing a dual degree with a law college, for example? Or NID NIFT doing dual degrees? NID packaging doing a dual degree? Fashion technology doing a dual degree with IIFT? Particularly when we are looking at the 5F, fashion to foreign, last 2Fs. There's so much possible in terms of building that child in abilities to do critical thinking, creativity. Of course, we saw an example of collaboration and cooperation and competition, all three. We should generate curiosity amongst our children. Curiosity for the future, futuristic things. I don't know how many of us have engaged with artificial intelligence or any of these new age areas, machine learning, or how much we focus on guiding even a fashion technologist that the fashions of tomorrow could come out of a machine, just like ChatGPT maybe. None of my points are written by ChatGPT, by the way. But there's immense and more potential which we can achieve. I think the time has come to start seeing how we can collectively have a massive impact and start getting recognized as this team. And if you want to add that handloom and all, you can. This team should start getting recognized in the country with a wow factor. Wow, this is something great. This is something new. This is something unparalleled in other parts of the world. Not just for the sake of being something new or something unparalleled, but the offering has to be so powerful. Alumni, I saw you have 80,000 alumni here. Alumni can be helpful as faculties, they can be helpful as donors, they can help pool of capitals to help improve student facilities in your institutes. And after all, Tata's giving $100 million or so, I don't know, was it 100 million or 50 million, I think, to Harvard Business School. I know that, but he's an alumni. I don't know whether he's an alumni, but half of Tata's senior management would be alumni. The board was all alumni of HBS. The dean of HBS was on the board of Tata. So our alumni have done well. And the other day, one of our textile alumni from NIFT, I think, sold his company at a remarkable valuation from what I read in the pink papers. And I do believe that they would appreciate that there is a small contribution to what you all as teachers and the institutes have played in their life. और इसमें कोई जबरदस्ती तो होती नहीं है. But believe me, I get a letter for my kids, from my kids' colleges, every month, religiously. और email नहीं भेजते, वो spam में चले जाएंगे. Proper letter आता है. और वो लेटर मैंने एक दो बार दिया भी है मेरे ऑफिस में कि इसको रखो जरा, हमको भी अपने इंस्टीट्यूट्स को बोलना चाहिए. They ignite a guilt feeling in you if you don't send in a check. And they say even a $10, $50, $100 check. And these are institutes who are the world's number one. They have corpus of $20 or $30 billion. But still there is $1 billion every year to add to that corpus. I wonder why and what they are doing. हम तो कभी-कभी मेरी wife और मैं सोचते हैं, we paid $1 billion of fees so far for these two kids, and they still want more. And that's the strength of American education. they give you the best, but then they say you should contribute to help others get the best. And I think the kind of alumni some of you may have, I'm sure you can also engage with them much more fruitfully. And donation दे या नहीं दे उस पर आपकी नजरिया नहीं बदलना चाहिए. मैं तो समझता हूँ फैकल्टी के रूप में आपको हफ्ते में महीने में एक दिन दे, आधा दिन दे, वो ज्यादा वैल्यूएबल है. थोड़ी दुनियादारी सिखाएगा आपके बच्चों को. सिमिलरली प्लेसमेंट्स पे ध्यान दीजिए. आई वाज वेरी डिसअपॉइंटेड जब कुछ हमारे इंस्टीट्यूट्स के प्लेसमेंट की सैलरी लेवल्स देखी. इनफैक्ट आई वांट टेक्सटाइल टू सॉर्ट आउट विद IIT Delhi also. I don't think we need a BTech program in textile engineering. It's a total waste. And the students coming out of that are not getting any value. तो जो एकदम JEE में लास्ट होगा, एकदम अंतिम छोर पे खड़ा हुआ है अंत्योदय प्रोग्राम, जो सबसे गरीब से गरीब को हम ज्यादा उठाने की कोशिश करते हैं, वो उनका उस तरीके का they are just not able to get traction. Rather, I would do that, they convert that many more seats or twice that number of seats into MTech programs, so that children from other engineering colleges can get the IIT textile higher level experience and contribute to the textile industry. So I think all of you need to think innovatively even in your programs. We have Samarth, and in the technical textile, large amount of funding for training. I've told Rohit Kansal to see if that can also be used to have joint programs with NIFT or NID or anything to help train more people. It could be used in a focused manner for people from tier 2, 3, 4 cities or towns or villages particularly. I wanted NIFT and all to start sending children abroad, even if necessary, on scholarship from the less privileged sections of society, so that that message goes, this is an inclusive set of 5 institutes. And I love that slide. Fortunately, it came just when I'm sorry, I'd actually expanded the time so that I could be present for 3 or 4 hours. My calendar I'd kept for 3 or 4 hours, but the Prime Minister of Nepal came in, and at I had to be present for all the meetings. So 4 hours I was not able to join you earlier, but I believe you've had some very interesting and engaging conversations amongst yourselves. Let's all work together as one entity, but a dynamic entity. Not a business as usual case, but something out of the box. And create a roadmap for that 10x students. More campuses, more extension counters. Fill up your faculty vacancies immediately wherever they are. If you need to expand your faculties, please do that. If you need specific skill sets, do that. I would also urge you to think of mid-career training. In the 40s, if we can have some programs, you will engage with industry better on that. They may like to have, mid-career training of all the IAS officers. Industry may like to send their officials for a training at an elevated level at the mid-career level. Engage with industry, find out what subjects do they really want it, then if they do, then what subjects they want. Let it be an inclusive decision-making process. Somewhere I read that other than IIFT, I think other institutes don't have enough industry professionals. So my office will look at that quickly and start putting in some members into your governing boards. I think NID doesn't even have a board right now. So we'll look at expanding that quickly. It's amongst many things, that's one of the things that got left out. But friends, this India of 2023 is different from the India of 2030. This has been a defining decade. And I'm in a way quoting from the Morgan Stanley report, which is all over the papers today. And if I may quote, this India is different from what it was in 2013. In a short span of 10 years, India has gained positions in the world order. I invite all of you to be a part of this journey towards a developed nation. Let's all unlock our talents, Let's all of us unlearn some of the things we've been doing for so long. Let's start afresh on a clean slate. Never ever, and that is always an instruction to all my officials, my colleagues, never ever say, but this is how it has been done in the past. Get that out of your system. And when you start thinking afresh, looking at the best practices across the world, looking at what your students should be given that will be differentiating them from the rest, both nationally or internationally, I am convinced that with a practical, industry-oriented approach, we can really find a better tomorrow, a better future for all our institutes. Friends, my best wishes to all of you in your endeavors. My grateful thanks, not only for your services to the nation in whatever capacity you are working for so many years now, but my grateful thanks to you also for giving this project, this effort towards convergence, a shot, a chance with an open mind. And I'm now, after today's presentation, some of which I missed, but I did read while I was hearing the others, I'm convinced we are good to go. We are all set for a bright future for all of us collectively. Let's go for it. Let's ensure that we periodically, if not any other way, at least on VC, continue to engage. Let's ensure that we engage even more deeply with industry, individually or collectively, whatever way you want. The groups can meet with industry. Groups can travel to industry sectors and meet with local industry in areas. So somebody from NIFT or that whole group going to Tirupur maybe, or to Jalandhar, Ludhiana, or to Hosur, or to Gurgaon right next door with industry sectors there, both goods and services. I think the sky's the limit for each one of these institutes. Let's go for the sky. Thank you.
Thank you, sir, for words that encourage, that motivate, that help us push forward. I'm an alumnus of one of these institutes. We were taught, and we teach forward, that design, manufacturing, and marketing are three corners of a triangle. One cannot survive or grow